So you're probably wondering what this video is, what I'm talking about, why there is gameplay in the background. And I've been sort of playing with this idea that I think I'm going to do more casual commentaries on the second channel from time to time. Just sort of to talk about things that I've been thinking about that obviously don't really have a place in the threshold of me talking about weird internet creators. So I just sort of want to talk about things that cross my mind, and maybe I'll need help from you, maybe you'll need help from me, who really knows. But I kind of have always been fascinated by old school COD commentaries. And yeah, you might jump down and say, well, this is just a Daily Slap copy. And it's like, well, yeah, Daily Slap copied old COD commentators. And even I did old COD commentaries in the past. And obviously they're really bad, but they're sort of like a foothold into where I am today and how I ended up making videos related to all this. And it just sort of stemmed from, I've always been a relatively creative person, and I've wanted to make content that is entertaining for people. And for a long time, I didn't understand how that worked. So I would just make stuff and I'd be like, this is kind of cool. And I never really had the expectation of garnering an audience or anything like that. And it mostly just left a bunch of unviewed, half-baked content that existed in multiple different channels, including this one. This channel does actually have some lore to it. It has some old, like Minecraft videos on it and stuff like that. So I'm one of those people. But essentially, once I like got out of school and I started to work, I just sort of felt like I was missing that creative spark that I had when I was in school. Basically, whenever you just like don't have the responsibility of having to make sure everything works out, you feel so free. It's like if you have student loans to help cover things, I mean, at least temporarily. Eventually they catch up to you, I guess. But in the meantime, it's like you're able to go out and do and explore things that you otherwise aren't capable of. And once I started to work in corporate world, I feel like everybody just sort of stopped dreaming. And like it was like kind of sad. And like I worked in like a pretty creative sphere of work, and even then I just felt like you were constantly beholden to what the client wants or what the budget is. It's like everything that you had taken time out of to develop over your years and years, I mean, taking art classes in school and all that, like just kind of went out the door. So when I started to make content, I initially thought I was going to become a, I don't know what you want to call it, but like lolcow shit poster, like YouTube pooper type of thing, right? Like I remember watching Wings of Misapprehension. He is still one of my favorite troll channels. And then I saw Dick Stroke and Phil vlogs, and like I like that genre of stuff where you're kind of like freebasing the information that the lolcows provide for you. So like initially, if you go back and I don't even know if I have it still public at this point, but I was basically making Wings parody videos, and I did some other unrelated stuff, and that's initially where I thought I was gonna head towards. And eventually I kind of realized that I was really intrigued because I'm a yapper. In case you haven't told, I'm literally making a video on a second channel to yap more, to be a yapopotamus. I was watching a bunch of this content on lolcows online, and not a lot of people were covering it in a commentary form per se. At least like I found Cyrax initially, and I felt like there were some, but a lot of them were clip channels. And you know, I'm a yapper. I was watching something, and I used to watch reality TV based commentators talking about different shows. I never watched the shows, but I was always intrigued by the drama aspect of it. And so that's why I took my foray into it. And then as like time went on, I was really enjoying the process of making the videos, even though like basically a lot of the a lot of the commentaries you'll see on my main channel on Monday or Wednesday, I just sort of picture them as like slop. It's just sort of to be like a conversation. You know, I'm talking about an event that happened with somebody I'm intrigued by. It's not overly edited. It's not this crazy video that all the YouTube help people will say, "Oh yeah, you should go and try and make the greatest thing ever." I don't think that's what it should be. I think a lot of the time what is successful on YouTube is like authenticity, and outside of me trying to curb myself to not get absolutely destroyed by the YouTube terms of service, I feel like I'm mostly authentic about how I feel about things, the direction of things, and where I want to go. And that kind of leads me to the whole crux of this video that I've been kind of thinking of is like back in March and April, I sort of started to get this itch that I wasn't fulfilling the creativity that I sought out to do. And I've always envisioned myself making long form documentary style content. And initially, and this video still isn't out, and maybe that's indicative of why I feel the way I do, is I was going to make a long form video that was a very minimum commentary and was about Willie Two Guns dying at Only Newspeak Blade's house. And it was going to be like a 2-hour long video. I got like 30 minutes in or something like that and haven't been back since. Hopefully at some point I do, because I do think that video and that concept is going to be a slam dunk. I think it's an excellent idea. Either way, I have been sort of chasing the dragon per se, and the reason why this title of this video is Let It Happen is because there are a few moments in your life that you'll listen to something, or you'll watch something, or you'll go to some event that you can never recreate. And one of those experiences for me was listening to the song Let It Happen by Tame Impala. If you haven't listened to it, I recommend it. Maybe this is cringe to you. You're like, ooh, Tame Impala fan? Dislike. Basically, I think there are events that happen in everybody's lives in terms of interests. And, you know, watching Breaking Bad for the first time was one of them for me. That sort of sticks in your mind and gives you shivers when you first watch it. And I'm sort of chasing that dragon of trying to find or create that content that fulfills that need. And potentially that never happens. You know, I have a gajillion ideas about things. I have things about doing merch or doing IRL content or doing different forms of faceless content, like all that stuff. And who knows, maybe none of that stuff actually fulfills that need, or maybe I don't feel it, maybe you don't feel it. But I think it's important to have that drive. Otherwise, you just sort of die into this abyss where you're just pumping out something because you have to pump out something. And I just want everybody who watches to understand that I enjoy the interactions that I create with everybody, but underlying, hopefully Saturated is able to reach that crest that he's searching for. Hopefully someday I'll make that video and I'll post it, and I would have watched it by then, and I'll be like, wow, this is it. And one of you listening to this will see that video and you'll be like, wow, that's it. So that's just what I wanted to talk about. Hope you guys enjoyed. I think there's going to be more versions of this content in the future. If you enjoy it, let me know. If you don't, you don't have to. But I'll see you guys later.